Top 5 reasons why the NES Mini could potentially, in brackets, fail. I think there's many reasons. But
you have your list.
I have my list.
Okay, so
I'll read on my list,
after,
and then you guys give me your thoughts on the
Yeah,
five.
sure.
And at the end, if I missed anything or whatever, let me know, okay?
Yeah.
Number 5, the reason why the NES Mini could fail, it's emulation.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, this is, of course, a Nintendo proprietary emulator. It's not still like SNES or NES EMU or whatever, like the existing emulators. This is Nintendo's own. It hasn't really been tested, I don't think, too much.
Right.
So the biggest thing that we have already with current emulators are things like lag.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Nintendo purists will be like, this isn't authentic. This is not CRT.
They're not.
There's no scan lines. There's no epic slowdown on like when there's too many sprites on the screen. You can't really capture that on an emulator, or can you?
There are Nintendo emulators that are accurate to a Nintendo, but it's to the point where they're still kind of.
But I think that's one of the reasons it could fail, or one of the reasons people would have against not buying it, is because they'd rather have the original Nintendo. Well, especially if you're a collector, you have everything already.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of having the NES?
You hear these stories of the Wii, what do they call it, the Wii store? Is it the Wii store or something? I don't know.
Virtual console?
Virtual console, and they're saying how some of the emulated games on the Wii and the Wii U aren't emulated correctly.
And they look blurrier
yeah,
or
they're blurry,
darker.
the colors are off.
It's weird.
And they're just saying, hey, you know what? If it's like this on the Wii or the Wii U, imagine the NES Mini, right?
Number 4,
Neutral on it.
the reason the NES Mini could fail, the roster of games. There's only 30 Nintendo games on the NES Mini, where the library is over 700. And, everyone grew up with different games, right? So a lot of people might feel this is very incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
You get Mega Man 2. Yeah. You get...
A lot of these, like you said,
no Contra. Super C.
Super C. A lot of these are the staples, but they're not going to be everybody's staples.
Exactly. No. It's a sampling of the Nintendo, but it does feel incomplete, especially if you're a retro collector. If you're somebody who just kind of wants to relive your past and you're going to pick up and play and put it down, I think that's their target market, is like the non-hardcore nostalgia type people. Because our generation is old enough now to buy commercial stuff.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they're bringing this out now. It's because we can afford to buy it. But I think their target market is not necessarily going to be us, but it's people like us who will probably
buy it for their
people
kids.
like us who almost don't know any better about like collecting original or just emulation in general.
Like I got coworkers who are not retro video game collectors, and they're going to buy it because, hey, it's an authentic Nintendo thing.
Yeah. I can play it on my new TV.
Yeah.
It's an HD. How could you not have a Ninja Turtles game on the NES Mini? You know what I mean?
All the Capcom games that had licensing, movie games like Batman was good on Nintendo. See, that's the thing.
It feels incomplete.
Yeah. So hack it, please.
It's gonna get hacked.
There might be a difficulty for hacking it because of the number 3 reason. Number 3 why the NES Mini could fail. It's a solid state piece of hardware. Meaning there's no SD slot to put in new things. There's no cord or there's no Wi-Fi to update anything. Mm-hmm. So potentially, if there's a catastrophic failure that was somehow missed during testing, they can't update it, right?
Probably not. No.
You can't tweak bugs if they thought people play it. You can't add more games. I think Nintendo really lost an opportunity to make something really cool.
Yeah.
They could have made a new console, and every couple months, hey, here's a new SD card or the proprietary or whatever. Of 30 more games we finally got licenses to, and sell that at physical media stores or whatever.
And people are gonna eventually hack it too. So why not just have all those?
How can they hack it, Lester? Is that possible?
Solder SD card slots.
You have to, right?
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
It'll get figured out. Everything gets hacked.
I thought they lost a real they could generate more money from this if they had a way to put in more games or it'd be cool. Like you can make a little SD card look like an old Nintendo cartridge. And have the fucking thing open, slide it in, slide it out.
You could use like DS cards. As,
Missed opportunity, Nintendo. Hire us.
They probably talked about it though.
See, that's the thing. You're thinking of it as a consumer,
of course,
a retro gamer that like knowledgeable, where you want to be able to do all this stuff. Where they can just
they're gonna.
Lazy. You know how we're talking about the Nintendo 20 or Super Nintendo being 25.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you if they do that Super Nintendo anniversary little
NES Mini,
they probably fix what's happening with the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Missed opportunity, man. Anyway, that's it for that. Any follow-up?
Nope.
No.
Number 2.
Number deuce. Gougers. It's already begun. Online, on eBay, $300. Buy my pre-order that I paid $70 for. Don't miss out on Christmas. You should pat the NES Punk again. He was reading out eBay entrepreneurs trying to sell their pre-sales. It was ridiculous. Like, don't miss out on the Christmas season. Pre-order sales sold out already. Get it now before they're all gone or whatever. $300 people are paying for this. And really, realistically, this is only the first run of pre-sales. There's going to be multiple pre-sales, but then you're going to get someone stupid who's going to buy it for $300. And then, when it gets further down along, it's a $300
It's
console
Christmas
now.
Like the PlayStation 4, Xbox One will launch around Christmas. People are selling them for $1,000 already.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's the same thing.
But this is not freaking PS4. This
No.
is the NES Mini. Do you
Well, that's
think
the thing. It's not going to be as huge a market for
No,
this
no.
as there is for
the
the
gougers
console.
could potentially turn off people?
They are.
$59.99,
They always do.
$60 is very fair for this,
Mhm.
considering what it is.
Mhm.
To have a gouger because it has a Nintendo name on it, they don't know how many are going to be released. They're going to gouge it, and I think people might be turned off.
I think the only thing the gougers are going to affect is the collectors, not the people who just want to casually buy this.
The people who casually buy it are not going to spend maybe a rich guy spend $300 on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Why?
But why would you buy that
Yeah,
for kids? Why don't you
exactly.
just go buy the original for?
You could.
Well, I don't know.
Because
I guess it's harder.
because humanity. That's why.
Yeah. Oh well.
Anyways, the gougers, biggest scums of the earth. They're not. They're probably really good people who want to feed their children. But
or they're assholes.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's different.
My general opinion is that they're the assholes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's sad. It's really sad. There's some gougers trying. Oh, it's only $150 or whatever.
Mhm.
It's more than the MSRP. But that brings me to my number one reason why this might fail. Because Nintendo is Nintendo. It seems like they're always behind on what the market kind of wants.
Because they're stubborn.
Yeah, they're very stubborn.
Nintendo's been doing it for years.
Notoriously
especially with the Wii U
stubborn.
and all that. Is like they're losing the war and the console
Well,
war. They are losing
Console
it,
war, yeah.
but they're still holding on to the.
They're worth right now. They're worth more than PlayStation.
Well, they're gimmicky, like the
Because of
Amiibos
Pokemon Go.
and Pokemon Go.
I'm just
that's not
saying,
even a console
maybe
game.
Nintendo knows what they're doing right now because
But
they surpassed stock.
what I'm
prices.
saying is they're losing the console war.
Oh, they are.
They're-
They're deep.
They're still worth tons because of Pokemon Go. Shit like Amiibos is saving them because.
But see,
People
again,
are buying them.
But even still, like,
they made the market so maybe they like it and they purposely do this where it's limited but not officially limited, but people like us in the community or people who sell these things.
Well, now you got
this is
people
very
scalping
limited.
the first edition of Lil Mac. Well, I just got the new Lil Mac. That's still $15,
And it's
but you're
still
still gonna
the
sell
same.
yours for $50.
But that's the market. That's the
It is.
that is the market. And Nintendo, I think, is kind of slow. They maybe don't have faith in a lot of their amiibos or whatever they're gonna put out, so they limit it. Or maybe that's
They
it's
should
done on
have
purpose.
done this.
They've
Nintendo
been
10
doing this
years
for
ago.
years.
Yeah, they're very
just-
stubborn.
They're stubborn.
And every one of the things that we've listed before, Nintendo, that was their decision,
Mhm.
or they can control.
Yeah.
So, like I said, for the NES Mini gougers, produce more.
Yeah.
If it was in a solid state, they chose to make it solid state. Maybe for a good reason. Nintendo, this is open for you. Come on, talk on the podcast.
There's just,
Like,
there's
they really
just-
will,
it's,
like-
it's just their basic fuck up.
Yeah, everything is controlled by them, and their stuff. They want to do it their way. Ever since Nintendo, the original NES, this could be an ode to that. They've done it their way. Blockbuster,
They
fuck
always
you.
fuck up like third party support and stuff like that, right?
Game Genie, fuck you, and they still lost on both of those. So, Nintendo being Nintendo could shoot themselves in the foot. But
And this is like I said, this is your top 5 why this could fail.
Yeah.
And I said this earlier is like it's not going to be a failure because probably the cost of production for them is super low.
Mhm.
Even if they sold it all as a one-off and they didn't make any more, they made their money on it already.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
from a standpoint of them making money off of it, it's not going to be a failure. Like this isn't a new console they're coming out with, right?
It will add.
They're
should
gonna
have been a new console.
It will
they're
add-
gonna make their money off of the resale price of it and them all being sold out, and all the gougers and collectors and the gaming market these are just gonna get recycled and the price is gonna. They're not making money off of recycled games and consoles, right? So
It will add to their financial portfolio and make their investors happy.
and even if they don't make like a shit ton of money off of this thing, they're still making the money.
And they're in. You know what?
It's,
How
it
many
could- it could
news
be a
outlets?
one-off.
How
It could
many
be a
news
one-off.
outlets? Maybe all they wanted to do was be put on the news. So many news outlets put this on as like a front page story. Nintendo coming out again.
Is this a prelude
Tons.
to something though? You know.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
But
man.
even
Super
still.
Nintendo.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We talk about what more they could have done to it, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If it's a one-off, then whatever. You know, they're gonna.
Which
make
reminds me
money
of like those Jack specific plug-in plays. Like
Oh,
the HD version
yeah.
of it.
and officially licensed, right?
Yeah, and officially licensed. So, you know what? It's still going to be a commercial success. This was just possibilities why it could fail.
Mhm.
I'm going to get one. What a chump.
I really wanted one, and
You don't. I'm getting it.
and if I could find one cheap enough, yeah. But just like I said, personally, it's I'd try it out, but it would just sit on a shelf in the box as like a collector piece almost. You know, that's
It's kind of sad to say that's why people are going to buy it, though.
Well, that's why, yeah.
It's
A
kind
lot
of
of
sad to
people
say
get
because
it,
like
'cause-
I want to open it.
Well,
But
I do
there's
want
no
to
need
too.
for me because I own every game that's on that thing.
Yeah.
They didn't even put it like another thing we could have put on here is like why are there no rare games on this thing? Right? Everything's like $30 games or under. Give me your freaking